Sahana vavatu sahanau bhunaktu saha viryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam. Paramananda Madhavam. Okay, let's read the verses we covered last time, verses 4 to 7. Bhumirapo nalo vayuhu khammano buddhirevacha ahankara iti yamme bhinna prakritirashtadha apareyamitastvanyam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhuta mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagata etadyonini bhutani sarvani tyupadharaya aham kritsnasya jagatah prabhavav pralayastatha mattah parataram nanyata kinchidasti dhananjaya Mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva. Okay, so last time we saw how Bhagavan has created this world. So first, before we come to Bhagavan, to the nature of God, first he says, okay, manushyanam sahasreshu kashchit yatati siddhaye. There are very, very few people who seek the truth. And there are very few who seek the truth all the way such that they realize it. And what do they realize? They realize the true nature of God. The true nature of God. What is the true nature of God? The journey is always from the known to the unknown. Because if we just go into the concept of God right away, we might all get lost. So the journey is always from what we are able to see to what we are able to not see. From what we are able to think of to what we are able to not think of. So first he brings what is called this apara prakriti, or the lower nature. Apara, lower, prakriti, nature, which is in verse number 4. And he says these 8 things make up my lower nature. What are they? Bhumirapo nalo vayuhu kham mano buddhirevacha ahankara. So all of these things, space, air, fire, water, earth. These 5 subtle elements, these are my lower nature, plus the mind, intellect, and the ego. Now, the way Gurudev has given mind, intellect, ego here is just our mind, our intellect, our ego. In Adi Shankaracharyaji's commentary, as I had indicated to you last time, by the mind, he means total mind. By the intellect, he's indicating total intellect. And by the ego, he's indicating the unmanifest. So in whichever way we go, because different commentators take the lower nature to be many different things, they interpret it in many different ways, we can just go with very, very simple, basic, the 5 subtle elements, the mind, the intellect, the ego. This is the lower nature, what we call lower prakriti. And this lower prakriti is inert. It's insentient. We also said that it's impure, it's tainted, because it has all kinds of aspects of it, sattva, rajas, and tamas in it. And this lower nature, lower prakriti is changing. It's always changing. And it's subject to birth, to destruction, etc. Now, when we come to the higher prakriti, which we saw in verse number 5, he says, I have my higher nature, which is para prakriti. Para means higher prakriti nature. And what is that? Jiva bhuta. So here, when we say Jiva Bhuta, just to be very clear, because there were questions on this, we mean actually it is that ultimate consciousness which manifests as Jiva. That is called the higher Prakriti. So when we talk about the ultimate consciousness, obviously the ultimate pure consciousness, that is something that is sentient. That is something that is pure. That's something that's changeless. That's something that's not subject to birth or destruction or any change, any modification. So that pure consciousness, which manifests as Jiva, that is called my higher nature. Yayedam dharyate jagat. And by this, the whole world is upheld. So the entire world is composed of the lower nature and the higher nature of God. Lower prakriti, higher prakriti. Lower prakriti, in other words, matter. Higher prakriti, in other words, consciousness. So when we see this entire world, we will just find these 2 things. And why are we starting from here? He started from matter because matter is the most obvious to us. It's what we look at first. We keep looking at matter, this insentient stuff. This is what draws our attention first. Then sentient beings. Then he puts them together. And in verse number 6, he says, I am actually the origin and the dissolution of these. So these 2 prakritis, they are the womb of all beings. Etad yoni iti bhutani sarvani tyupadharaya. These 2 prakritis are the wombs of all beings, and I am the source. So I am the source of all of this. I am the source of the universe, the starting point, and I am the dissolution of the universe. And what's implied is also I am the sthiti karana, means I am that which sustains the entire universe. So then we understand, okay, everything comes from Bhagavan or God, everything's sustained in Bhagavan and goes towards or into Bhagavan, like the spider. So what we saw last time was God is the sentient cause and the material cause, the intelligent cause and the material cause. And then in verse number 7, he says, actually, there is nothing other than me. Right? There is absolutely nothing other than me, which means that I alone actually am appearing as this world. There is no other world separate from me. that this whole entire creation is not separate from me. I alone am appearing as this entire world. So I alone am. If you take two things, let us say A and B, and A is the cause, B is the effect, right? So A is God, B is the world. Now, if we take away consciousness, existence from the world cannot exist anymore. So that means the world is nothing but God, because with God it cannot exist. Just like the clay pot, pitcher, glass, it's nothing but clay, because it cannot exist without clay. The gold bracelet, necklace, ring, earring is nothing but gold, because it cannot exist without gold. So this whole world is nothing but God. It's nothing but that ultimate truth. And therefore, God alone is, or the truth alone is. There's absolutely nothing else but that. And he gives a very beautiful example. He says, like a thread, like a sutra, like a thread in which all beads are pervaded, which all beads are strung, which all beads are strung. So I am that thread in which all beads of a necklace are strung. That thread, we generally don't see it. It's generally not in our attention, but it's there, and it's the very substratum of all beads. So if you think about, this example, like the screen in the movie, so what is the thing? When we go to watch a movie, all we pay attention to is what's in the movie. What the characters are, the background of the movie, who's starring in the movie, who's the hero, what's the plot. That's all we pay attention to. So that is the lower and the higher prakriti. What's happening in the movie, all the matter or the materialistic things, those which are inert. That's the lower prakriti in the movie. The sky, the sun, the moon, the desk, the table, the chair. And the higher nature in the movie is the people, the actors, the actresses. And then where does the movie come from? The movie starts from the screen, correct? It starts from the screen. The screen will say starring this person and that person, and this is the movie. It starts from the screen. And it is sustained in the entire screen. And it ends also in the screen. At the end, the screen goes completely blank. And we know the movie's over. And then sometimes they'll turn on the screen again because there's some end credits or end scenes that they want to show, right? So it all starts, it's sustained, and it ends in the screen. And actually, the screen alone is because there is no movie without the screen. So this is what we're trying to say, is that there is no other world besides God, meaning God, pure awareness, pure existence. There is no world apart from that. There is no other thing apart from that. There is no you apart from that. There is no world apart from that. There is no other thing apart from that. God alone is. The truth alone is. And that is why it's Advaita. It's Advaita. And everything exists in that alone. So in this way, he's brought us to the greatest revelation, right? That the truth alone is, this is my highest nature. If you really want to know, this is my highest nature. Now, some people will say this is a little hard for me to understand. This is too subtle for me to trace, that truth, that awareness, that existence alone is the source of everything. It's subtle. So Bhagavan Krishna says, okay, don't worry about it. If you cannot see the Bhuti, I am going to now show you Vibhuti. So the next few verses, verses 8 to around verse probably 12, he's going to show his Vibhutis, his different glories. And what Vibhuti means actually is this. It consists of two words. Bhuti means just being, right? So what is just being? Being is just awareness, just I am, just consciousness. That is being. And there are very few who can recognize being. Recognize being meaning realize being, who can tune into being, who can understand being. But for those who cannot just understand Bhuti, he says, now I'm going to show you Vibhuti. Vibhuti means Visheshana Bhuti. I'm going to show you how I appear in this world, where you can see me, where you can worship me in this world. If you cannot worship me out of this world, beyond this world, then just see me in this world. See me in the beauty that's there in this world. And in that way, think of me. So verses 8 to 12, now he's going to show his Vibhuti. Verses 4 to 7, if you want to think about it, it's just Bhuti. It's taking us to the raw truth, right? So these are special manifestations of Bhagwan, but also it is drawing to our attention the essence of that very thing, because he wants to keep our attention to say that, listen, I am the essence of everything. I am the origin of everything. I am the sustenance. I am the dissolution point. I am the essence. So he's going to show us these things and he's going to say the essence of this is me. The essence of this is me. And just keep thinking about the essential things in life and you will reach me. Right? So now we will start with verse number 8. Okay? Rasohamapsu kaunteya
Rasohamapsu kaunteya
Prabhasmi shashi suryayoho
Prabhasmi shashi suryayoho
Pranavah sarva vedeshu
Pranavah sarva vedeshu
Shabdah khe paurusham nrishu
Shabdakhe paurusham nrishu
Rasohamapsu kaunteya Prabhasmi shashi suryayoho Pranavah sarva vedeshu Shabdah khe paurusham nrishu. So he says here, rasaha. Rasaha means I am the taste. Taste. Rasa. I am the taste. Apsu in water. Rasaha aham apsu. In water, I am the taste. O Kaunteya. O Arjuna, the son of Kunti. Prabhasmi. Prabhasmi, I am the radiance, the light. In Shashi Surya Yoho. Shashi means moon, Surya means sun. Pranava Sarva Vedeshu. I am Om. Pranava here means Om. I am Omkara in all the Vedas. Shabdaha. I am sound in K. K means in space. Ka is space, so K in space. Paurusham Nrishu. I am, one meaning here is Nrishu in men. Paurusham virility. Another meaning is Paurusham is effort. Effort in all beings. Okay? So we'll see one by one. So in water, he says, I am the taste. Meaning the essence of water is the taste. Because if you think about it, there's so many different bodies of water. There's the ocean, there's a river, there's a lake, there's a pond. But why is everybody going towards water? If you look at Ganga Maya or a big body of water, why is everyone flocking towards the water? From the most minute birds to the little animals, the crawling animals, through the lions, the tigers, the elephants, and to humans also. Why is everyone flocking towards the water? It's because of taste. Because of taste. It's because they want to quench their thirst through that taste of water. So the essence, when we look at water, the essence of water is that rasa. We go to water not to look at water. we go to water essentially, of course, we use it to take a shower and whatnot, but essentially also we go to it to quench our thirst. So I am that rasa. I am taste in waters. Water in Sanskrit is always bahuvachanam. It's always plural. So apsu, in water. In the sun and in the moon, I am the brilliance, the light. So what makes the sun the sun? It's the light, right? Sunrise, sunset. It's when the light of the sun is out, then everybody's awake. All creatures are awakened. It's when all plants, all animals are nourished. It's when we are nourished with vitamin D. We are nourished with energy when we get sunlight. So when we see that radiance of the sun, that is the essence of the sun. Without that brilliant radiance, without that light, that prabha, bha means light, prabha means that radiant light, the sun wouldn't be the sun. And because it's the sun, it gives light to everything, including the moon. And Shashi means the moon. Again, the essence or the brilliance of the moon is also light. Everybody likes to look at the moon for light. And in the dark, when we need to see directions, when we need to go somewhere and there's no light, everybody relies on the moon. Back in the day, there was no, when people didn't have maps or phones or anything like that, they would look up at the moon and the stars, and that's how they would figure out where they were and how to navigate themselves. So the essence of the moon is the light, the radiance. The essence of the sun is the radiance. So when we look at these things, Bhagavan is saying, think of me. If we cannot go beyond thought, then just think of me through these things that we see in our everyday life. And the beauty of this is we see these every day. We see water every day. So when we drink water, rasoham apsu kaunteya, and we see the sun, the moon, prabhasmi shashi surya yoho. Then he says, pranava sarva vedeshu. In all the Vedas, I am pranava. Pranava means Om. Pranava is the name of Om because Nava means actually boat. It's that which takes us across. So Pranava is that boat which takes us across samsara. And this Om, it was said that, let us say, if all of our scriptures are gone, all of our itihasas, our puranas, all of our scriptures are completely wiped away. That's fine because we have Om. And with Om, we can rewrite all of our scriptures because it is so incredibly deep. The essence of the entire Veda is to just tell us what Om is. And if we see, so many of our mantras start with Om. So what is this Om? What is the essence of the Veda? This is given in Mandukya Upanishad. And this Om Kara will come again in chapter 8. It consists of 3 syllables, or 3 letters rather. A, U, and M. A indicates the waker, the waker in us. U indicates the dreamer. And M indicates the deep sleeper. And when we say Om, what we are saying is that we're actually not the waker. We are not the dreamer. We're not we're not U, we're not the dreamer. We're not Ma, we're not the deep sleeper. But but we are Om, meaning we're that truth which is in and through the waker, dreamer, and deep sleeper. But at the same time, after Om, there's a silence, and we're that truth that transcends it. So we are that pure awareness that is there in the waker, is there in the dreamer, is there in the deep sleeper, but at the same time, we are that truth that transcends all three, and we are untouched by all three. Because the waker is not there in the dreamer, and the dreamer is not there in the deep sleeper, and the deep sleeper is not there in the waker. So all of these personalities, they disappear into each other. It's like they get lost into each other. But there's one constant awareness that remains there throughout. That is called Om. And that awareness is untouched by the waker. No matter whatever happens to the waker, it's untouched. Whatever happens to the dreamer, it's untouched. Whatever happens to the deep sleeper, it's untouched. That reality is Om. And so the entire Veda is just to realize that. You might say that the Veda is divided into two sections, Dharma and Brahma. But even if it's divided into two sections, that Dharma section is just to know Brahma. And we have a mantra that says Om iti Brahma. That Om itself is Brahma. So I am that essence. So when you think about the Vedas, think about me as the essence of all the Vedas. When you think about K, when you think in space, I am sound. So what does this mean? Just like in water, the essence, the guna, the quality of water is taste. The essence of space is sound. The quality of space is sound. What does it mean? What makes space so worthwhile is because in space, sound can be transmitted. That's what makes space so worthwhile, because when we have space, in that space, sound can travel, sound can move. And therefore, know me to be that sound which can travel through space. And Paurusham Nrishu, in all beings, all creatures, I am that sense of effort. Paurusham also means effort. See, we have one thing called prarabdha, and we have one thing called purushartha, right? Prarabdha, we know, is the results of whatever actions we have committed. Those results are called prarabdha. They are coming to us. Paurusham is this self-effort, this effort which we execute in our day-to-day life so that we can create a better future. And by the way, this prarabdha, whatever the results of our actions, results of our past actions, that's nothing but self-effort with respect to the past. Because I had committed, I made those decisions, that's why I got those results. So that is also self-effort. So we shouldn't think that prarabdha is just, we have no control. We had control at some point in time, but it's just that it's coming back now. The results are coming in a certain way. So now, in the present, that effort which I put forth to change my life, to elevate my life, to make my life divine, divinize it, that is the essence in all beings. That's the essence in all beings, because that's what makes us different from each other. All of us are given life. All of us are given this birth, this human birth. And we talked about how rare it is. All of us have been given this opportunity. But how many of us are actually utilizing it? And those who put forth effort, the correct effort, in the right direction, in the right way, that essence I am. I'm that Paurusham. I'm that effort. Now, further continuing. Punyo gandhaf pritivyam cha
पुण्यो गन्धपृथिव्यां च
tejaschasmi vibhavasau
तेजश्चास्मि विभावसौ
जीवनं सर्वभूतेषु
जीवनं सर्वभूतेषु
तपश्चास्मि तपस्विषु
तपश्चास्मि तपस्विषु
पुण्यो गन्धः पृथिव्यां च तेजश्चास्मि विभावसौ जीवनं सर्वभूतेषु तपश्चास्मि तपस्विषु. So he says now, I am Punya Gandha. I am the sweet fragrance, Prithivyam, in earth. And Tejaha cha asmi. Tejaha, I am the brilliance in Vibhavasau, in fire. Jivanam sarva bhuteshu. I am the life in all beings. Tapaha cha asmi. I am austerity. Tapasvishu, in the austere. So what does he mean? Now here in earth, what is the essence of earth? Why are we here in earth? What are we doing? Punyo Gandha. He says the essence of this earth, if we talk about this earth element, is sweet fragrance. Oh, what does this mean? We think about why animals keep sniffing the earth, right? If you think all animals, they keep sniffing the earth. Why are they doing that? Because they're trying to find food. So the essence of this earth is the property of smell, because through that smell, animals, beings, so many people are able to find food. The same with humans also. Back in the day, we didn't have groceries, supermarket, we didn't have all of that. We didn't have all kinds of transportation. But how people lived in the forests is they used all of their senses. They used their sense of smell to find life, to find that which would nourish them, that which they could eat. So, punyo gandha pritivyam. In earth, I am that sweet fragrance. That sweet fragrance, how they could smell fruits and vegetables to understand if they are ripe or not, if they could have them or not. This is the smell, the gandha. Tejaha cha asmi vibhavasau. In fire, I am that brilliance. So I am that heat, I am that light, I am that brilliance. So fire, he is given here also because we use fire in so many of our rituals, in so many of our pujas, in our havans, in our homas. So fire is something common. And in the household also there's fire. So whenever we look at fire, what makes fire fire is its heat. It's light. We cannot have something like cold fire. We've never seen that cold fire. So whenever you see fire, know that heat, that radiance, that brilliance, that is me, that essence of fire, which whatever light we lamp, whatever thing we use to cook, know that I am that essence, that brilliance in fire. Then he says, Jivanam sarva bhuteshu. So earlier, in the earlier verse, number 8, we saw that which is very unique. Visheshana, that which was very unique to all beings, is effort. Depending on the kind of effort we use, that is the essence. That's the essence. Those who really, really put forth effort to right things, to pursue the right things, that is the essence of all beings in a unique way. The essence, the general, the samanya, or the general essence of all beings, now this is given in verse number 9, is life. So how do we know that a being is a being? Is because we see life. How do we know that something is sentient? We see life. And so we are also very marveled when we see different life forms. You know, sometimes when we're in nature, when we just see something grow, like a flower bloom, we get so much in awe. Or when we see a fish swim, or a frog jump, or when we watch a bird on a tree, we also feel very, very much in awe. Huh? Or when we see a newborn baby, there's just life has just come to this being. We are very much in awe. So he says, when you see this expression of life, of living, that is also me. That is me. See me in that. Huh? So it's very beautiful because it's a way for us to keep seeing that divinity. That divinity is everywhere, but sometimes it's hard for us to see it everywhere. So he kind of highlights, this is not all of his vibhutis, because in chapter 10 he's going to give more, and he's going to say, I will not be able to share with you all of my vibhutis or glories because they're infinite, but this is some of them. And he says, tapaha cha asmi tapasvishu. I am austerity in the austere. So what is this austerity in the austere? Tapaha is that by which it's the mastery of our minds and senses so that we can channel it to something higher. So that by which we master our mind, our senses, in order to challenge it, channel it to something higher, that's called austerity or tapaha. And what happens when we don't channel it to something higher? It's called pata. We fall. So the opposite of tapa is pata. And this tapas, we've seen also in many other texts like Manashodhanam and such, and it will come again in chapter 17. But just to give us a little bit of an overview, because this is a very beautiful word, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says there are different kinds of austerities. There are austerities that are tamasic austerities. Tamasic austerities is when people hurt themselves. People hurt themselves and take that as austerity. And Bhagavan says, why would you do that? Because I am the one who's living in your body. So nobody needs to hurt themselves or harm themselves, because that is a tamasic austerity. A rajasic austerity is when people perform this mastery of mind and senses, but they do it for a very selfish pursuit. They do it for power, they do it for wealth, for name, for fame, or even worse, for destruction of others. Like we see this Ravana or Hiranyaksha or Hiranyakashipu. They were all great tapasvis, but they used their tapas, their austerity, for the wrong means, totally wrong means. Sattvic tapas or sattvic austerity is when we perform certain austerities, we control, we master our minds and senses, but for a greater purpose. Be it because we want to serve, because we want to give, because we want to help. So this is the kind of austerity he's talking about. And austerity can be in 3 levels. So he talks about austerity in chapter 17 and the level of the body. So in the level of the body, one austerity is to serve the higher cause, to use our body to be able to do something good. And in our scriptures, taking care of the body is the first sadhana. The first sadhana, because without taking care of the body, we cannot do anything. So even from our perspective, taking care of our body, making sure that we keep it healthy, we eat well, we sleep well, we exercise, that is our tapasya. Then at the speech level, Bhagavan Sri Krishna gives this acronym, which I often mention to the kids, SPAM. Our speech should be Satyam, Priyam, Hitam, and Mitam. Satyam means truthful. Priyam means that which is loving, that was spoken out of love. Hitam means that which is for the well-being of others. And mitam means that which is measured. So there's also what we call the austerity of speech. Austerity of speech is to speak the truth. And many of us think that we speak the truth, but actually we don't. Right? How many times have we said, oh, I'm 5 minutes away, but we're like 20 minutes away? Right? And how many times have we said, oh, yes, I'll totally come, but we never show up? Right? And how many times have we exaggerated something? Oh, I waited for 4 hours, maybe 40 minutes. So speaking the truth is an austerity of speech. And speaking the truth in a way that we speak it out of love also. Not with such hate or in a derogatory manner, but speak out of love for the person. Sometimes we have to be firm, but that firmness should also still come out of love. And hitam, for the benefit of others. If something is not going to benefit others, then why talk about it? If it's just a rumor or some gossip or some completely useless thing that's a waste of time, why should we utter it? And speech should also be mitam, measured. So that is the austerity of speech. Then he also gives the austerity of the mind. And I'll just give you one austerity of the mind. It's called mana prasada. Mana prasada means that wherever I go, I will keep my mind peaceful. It doesn't matter what the circumstance is. It doesn't matter how crazy it gets, how, crowded it is, how noisy it is, how disturbing it can be. But I will always make sure that wherever I am, I will keep my mind calm and I will keep my mind peaceful. That's also an austerity. So in chapter 17, Sri Krishna speaks about all of this. And of course, there's the austerity of fasting, of japa, of puja. All of these are our austerities. All of our daily sadhanas, our spiritual practice, they are also all austerities. So Bhagavan Krishna says, I am the austerity of the austere. The sattvic austerity, the austerity at the level of the body, the speech, the mind, our daily austerities. I am this of the austere. Because we cannot be austere in spiritual life without austerity. One of the key things in spiritual life is that we have to perform some austerity. I've already given you body, speech, mind. At least this much we should be doing. Because this is one of the marks of spiritual life is austerity. Okay? Now, further, Shri Krishna says, Bijam mam sarva bhutanam
Bijam mam sarva bhutanam
Vidhi partha sanatanam
Vidhi partha sanatanam
Buddhir buddhimatamasmi
Buddhir buddhimatamasmi
Tejas tejasvinamaham
Tejas tejasvinamaham
Bijam mam sarva bhutanam Vidhi partha sanatanam Buddhir buddhimatamasmi Tejas tejasvinamaham. So Sri Krishna says, O Partha, O Arjuna, Bijam mam sarva bhutanam vidhi. Vidhi, know. Know what? Mam. Know me to be bijam, the seed, sarva bhutanam, of all beings, sanatanam, the eternal seed. Buddhihi buddhimatam asmi. and know me to be the intelligence of the intelligent. And Tejaha, the splendor, Tejasvinam, of the splendid. Aham. So he says, Partha, this seed, the seed of all beings, okay? The seed of all beings, know that to be me. So what is the source of all beings? When we say seed, we think of source. How we think of source? We think of the seed, it becomes a sprout, and then becomes a plant, and then it becomes, a flower, fruits, etc. It's the source. So he's saying, I am the seed of all beings, means I am the source from which all beings come. I am the source from which all beings come. But please note one thing. Sanatanam means I never change. Because when we see a seed, it changes, it breaks open. It breaks open and all of a sudden it sprouts. So I am not that kind of seed which changes, which breaks open and which grows and which becomes a flower and which becomes a fruit, and then again that whole thing dies. So I'm not that kind of seed. So we saw that also earlier, because if God is that kind of seed or source of creation that changes or modifies to become the world, then God would die. Just like the seed modifies to become a plant and essentially the seed dies. So God is that seed, but eternal seed, meaning this creation is just an appearance in Bhagavan. It's not an actual creation, actually. We use the word creation, but it's not the right word. It's just an appearance. It is like that dreamer's mind does not actually change to become a dream. It just appears as a dream. So that dreamer's mind, from that dreamer's mind, the whole dream comes about. The whole dream with many, many things, both living beings and non-living beings. Many varieties of shapes and sizes and forms, and then it goes back into that dreamer's mind, right? So nothing, it didn't physically change, so to speak. So in the same way, he says, I'm the seed, I'm the bijam, but I'm the sanatanam bijam, I'm the eternal seed. So meaning the seed is always intact, I am always intact, and this creation is just appearing from me and disappearing into me. It is just appearing from me and disappearing into me. One interesting thing I read, many people ask, now why is this creation happening? Or manifestation, appearance, whatever you call it, why is it happening? What is the reason? And if you ask from the absolute standpoint, they will say, well, what is happening? There's only Brahman we see. Right? There's only Brahman. But I was reading Swami Akhandanandaji's work, and he said there's something very unique about Brahman. And this can explain why the world is manifesting. He said Brahman is of the nature of Chit, of Jnana Swarupa, means of consciousness, of illumination, right? So it's of the nature of Chit, let's say, but it's also of the nature of Ananta. Ananta means it's infinite. So this nature, this conscious nature of Brahman means that it illumines. It's just its nature, it illumines. Brahman is consciousness, its nature is it illumines. That's its nature. So its nature is to illumine or to see, so to say. But because it's infinite, its nature is not to be seen. Because that which is infinite, we can never see. We can never see the complete or totality of it. It's infinite. It's infinite. So that which is infinite can never be seen. So it is like the eyes, the nature of the eyes is to see. We don't have to tell the eyes to see. We don't have to say, eyes go see. The nature of the eye is just, okay, it sees. The nature of the sky or space is it's infinite. Is infinite. It's not to be seen. Right? So when the I, whose nature is to see, tries to see space, whose nature is not to be seen, then what we see is an illusion. We see blueness. Correct? We see something illusory. So when Brahman's nature is to illumine this world, to see, so to say, or to see, but it cannot see itself. So Brahman's nature is to see, but it cannot see itself because itself is ananta. It is infinite. Therefore, it sees something else, completely different. And what does it see? It sees the world. So this is just the nature of Brahman. We can't help it. The nature of Brahman is to see, but the nature of Brahman is also not to be seen. So what we get is a totally different thing that we see over here. So this is Brahman. This is why this creation or manifestation appears. One reason why this manifestation, so to say, appears. This is a very, very beautiful thing to think about. And from the highest standpoint, as I explained last time, if we ask a realized person, what do you see? They will just say Brahman. Because it is like a person who has been in the forest and has never seen furniture. All they've seen is maybe wooden trees, wood all over. And they go to somebody's house, and for the first time they're seeing a table and a chair and a sofa. And they're asking, let us say a little boy is asking his father, what is that? That looks like wood. And the father is saying, it's a sofa. And the boy said, no, it's just wood. Why will it be a sofa? What is that table? Or what is that, rather? And the father will say table. He will say, no, it's just wood, actually. It's just wood. Why are you calling it table? It's just wood. What is that? The father says, it's a chair. Oh, why are you calling it chair? It's just wood. So just like somebody who is just seeing wood all their lives, wooden trees all their lives, and then we bring them to a house where there's things made of wood, a sofa made of wood, a chair made of wood, a table made of wood, they're just gonna say this is wood. You can call it what you want. You can call it table, you can call it chair, you can call it sofa, but to me, it's just wood. So similarly, the person who has realized Brahman, they will say to us, you can call it what you want. But for me, it is just Brahman. Because their whole entire being is immersed in only that. Brahman. Only Brahman. There is nothing else other than that. Na anyat kinchit pashyati, na anyat shrunoti, na anyat vijanati. They don't see anything else. They don't hear anything else. They don't know anything else. They're just immersed in that. So they will also tell us, you can call it what you want. But for us, this is what it is. So Bhagavan says, I am that eternal seed. I am that truth which appears as this. But know that the essence of this entire appearance is me and me alone. Okay. So we will stop here. There were some few questions here. I'll just answer them briefly and then we will close. So one is that, can you explain sattvic austerities? So again, sattvic austerities are those that are dedicated towards the higher, towards the realization of truth. So I've explained in the level of the body, sattvic austerities to serve, to take care of the body so that we can serve, so we can give more. Sattvic austerity at the level of speech is to speak the truth, satyam, that which is loving, that which is beneficial, that which is measured. Sattvic austerity at the level of the mind is to keep the mind peaceful no matter where we are. So any austerity that we do, which is channeling ourselves towards God, towards that truth, that is called the sattvic austerity, right? And there's a comment here, we cannot see microbes, but only the microscope can. We cannot see air, but with the help of the fan, we can. Correct. Okay. So now just to summarize what we have done today, what we have seen is, Bhagavan said, there is nothing other than me in this world. I alone am. And those who have that subtle mind can really inquire into this. And that is called Bhuti. That's called Bhuti. That pure awareness, pure consciousness is Bhuti. I alone am. But because our minds maybe cannot see or penetrate into that depth, he says, okay, now let me give you Vibhuti. Let me just show you my essence in other things which you can see, or which you can perceive, or which you can think of. And then he gives us this different Vibhutis or glories. Like I am that rasa of water and the taste of water. I am that shine in the sun and the moon. I am Om in all of the Vedas. I am that effort in all beings. I am that smell in earth. I am that fire in fire. I am that light, that heat. I am life in all beings. And I am that sattvic austerity in the austere. And I am this eternal seed from which this whole manifestation appears. So more we will take up. More of these vibhutis we will take up next time. Stop here. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.